Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mike Bernache, and I'm a business analytics coach with Lodestar Solutions. And today I will be sharing with you some of the new and exciting features in the most recent release of Cognos Business Intelligence 10.2.1. I'm going to try and keep the presentation to about 40 minutes or so today, so we have some time for a few questions at the end. We have a large number of attendees today. I think when all is said and done, it's going to be close to 400. So I'm certainly not going to be able to answer all the questions in the time we have allotted, but we will answer them in a recorded version of this webinar that we'll post to our website in the coming days. At the end of the presentation, I will give you the directions to that website. It's really cool. We've actually updated it recently. It's brand new, and it was just re-released, so we're really excited about it. We hope you go visit it, whether you have questions or not out there. Today, we're going to spend our time on a few key areas. The first area is the visual enhancements that were made. That is actually called the Rave engine, and we will talk more about that, a lot really about that as we go through the presentation. We're going to talk about major performance improvements in this release. We're also going to talk about the improvements to the different studios. And when we get into that, we're actually deep dive into the Rave engine and the visualizations. I'm going to take you on a little bit of a demo to show you where those are at and how you get those, how you load them into Report Studio, and use them going forward. We'll also talk about big data. I'm sure a lot of you have heard a lot about big data. Cognos is really spending some time and effort in this area to support as many of the market leaders platforms as possible. And then we're also going to hit on the end of service to 8.4.1 and what that means and why I think now is a great time to get over on the 10. So as you can see, we got a few items we're going to go through first. IBM Cognos Connection has a new look. It has some updated splash screen, has updated icons and fonts, which I will show you shortly. But don't worry, everything functions the same. It's just got a fresh new update. There are updated samples that go along with this release. For those of you who use TM1 and Cognos Insight, this version is fully supported, and it works with both of those. You're able to bring your cubes in, use them, build reports and whatnot. As I said before, Cognos 8.4.1 and really 8 is coming to its end of service. We're going to talk about moving to 10.2.1. Obviously, there's huge improvements from 8 to 10. And if those aren't enough, Workspace, Workspace Advanced, Active Reports, the performance improvements, the support for big data should, in my opinion, make you want to switch as soon as possible. So our main themes that we're going to talk about: visualization, interaction, the big improvements to Active Reports and mobile. This is a huge area that was concentrated on in this release. This is the Rave engine, and you'll again hear me and others talk a lot about this. On the next slide, I will actually discuss more of what this is, and as I said, we'll get more into it as we get through the presentation. The second area is the performance improvements, and we'll talk about those next. Those are huge in a lot of areas, and you'll be able to see just by some of the charts I have here, what those are and how big and how quick it improves for you. And then lastly, we'll talk a little bit about big data. We'll talk about those platforms and what's being supported. So, the visualization and Rave engine. This Rave stands for Rapidly Adaptive Visualization Engine. And what this really is technology that offers some just stunning visual presentations. These are basically interactive, some are animated. They're available in a big variety of different things that include heat maps, and spider maps, clouds, bubble charts, along with normal charts and graphs, like line graphs, bar graphs that you normally would expect. Right now, there are about 30 of these available that you can download from Analytics Zone, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. There are 30 of them that you can download and use. You have to actually download them and bring them in to BI through a different process, which I will show. And then also some of these, for those of you who don't have the IBM Cognos iPad app, I suggest getting it. You'll actually get to see a lot of this Rave technology and these visualizations on some of the samples out there. Performance improvements. These are huge. So we're going to start with active reports. And for those of you who aren't familiar with active reports, especially the folks on Series 8, active reports are self-contained, highly interactive reports that can be viewed offline and are great for devices like the iPad, or you can actually take the file on your laptop and review it without being connected to the BI server at all. You build these reports through Report Studio. You save them as a .mht file, which houses all the info, and that's what makes them interactive. In version 10.2.1, IBM has updated through their compression algorithm, has updated the load times by 5%, or by 5 times, I'm sorry, while utilizing 5 times less memory. And this is all been done while allowing you to hold 10 times more data and actually have the file 3 times smaller in size. So this is really huge for those of you who have been using active reports. They can get kind of large, and actually with these visualizations, you would think they would get larger, but they actually get smaller based on the way these visualizations work and how they're held in memory cache. Mobile in this version is about 3 times faster with report loading and execution. This is because of the way the BI server is doing more of the heavy lifting and how the requests are being handled. Dynamic cubes was something introduced in 10.2, and this is dynamic cubes are really for big data, and they utilize lots of data. So what they've done is improve the SQL query structure and better usage of the memory. So this is actually requires about 70% less memory, and it's actually double the performance speed here. Report bursting, actually about 6 times faster, based on the ability to use multiple servers. So it's actually using your hardware resources better. So report bursting can go a whole lot quicker. Batch reporting has seen an increase of about 25% based on some optimization with the CPU. And the disk interoperability has reduced that by about 85%, the amount of disk activity, based on the way the files are cached in memory. So as you can see, some major league performance optimizations have been made in 10.2.1, which those of us who have been using 10, it certainly has been quicker than 8, but these performance improvements make it just unbelievably quick. This slide here just kind of briefly just shows the different increases and decreases of certain things, which is really just very powerful. So now we're going to dive into some of the studio enhancements and talk about what that means to those of you who are metadata modelers or report writers. As I said, the first thing you'll notice is the new lift to the splash screen. It's completely redone. It's got some new icons. It just looks a little different, more fresh. There's also updates to the IBM Cognos administration and connection area. They have new fonts. It looks a little bit different. There's a couple new areas, such as the library and the multi tenancy tab in the admin console. We're going to talk a little bit about those more shortly. In Cognos Connection, you'll notice that the icons have changed. And one of the bigger changes here, which isn't huge, but they've actually changed the packages to look like packages. They're no longer a blue folder. It's actually a package that you would see, wrapped with a ribbon. So it actually looks like a package. There have been a few additions to Framework Manager, and these specifically relate to dynamic query mode. So dynamic query mode is the 64-bit query engine that uses a lot of caching to speed up query response. So big data, again, using dynamic query mode to help speed things up. They've added a few filters. The first one is the context-sensitive join selection. So what this does is control the computation for a query in a star schema grouping that does not contain a fact. There's the local cache policy, which controls the level of query for which reusable cursors are created. There's cursor mode, which controls how long resources required by the query are kept before being released. And then there's the master detail optimization, and what this does is control whether detailed caching is performed on a master detail query. I've put a screenshot of them up there for you. This is how they come set. Obviously, you can move them however you see fit, but this is their standard settings here. Report Studio Studio has gained a number of different improvements. And the first one is Microsoft Excel group/repeating column formatting option. And the next is the improved text-based relational filters. There's actually a really neat feature on data containing and query naming support. And then for dimensional packages, so your DMRs and your cube data, it actually has some options to show those values as a percent, to be able to search with an ends with when searching for members in a member listing. And a really, really neat feature is the ability to share sets between reports. And the next few slides, I'm going to go into a little more detail on each of these. So the group and ungroup setting in Report Studio basically allows you to control how the export works for 2007 Excel export. So only with 2007 will this work. But it allows you to either group repeating cells like you would normally see maybe on a CSV, or keep them in their group setting. So as you can see in the two pictures I have here, one of them keeps them grouped. The other one, if you uncheck it, doesn't keep them grouped and allows them to repeat going down. Just a neat feature that they've added. You'll find that under File and Report Properties. It does come checked, so everything groups. You certainly go in and uncheck it if you didn't want things to group. The next feature that they've updated is the text-based filters. So you're now able to search via text with relational data using a starts with, an ends with, a contains, or even a SQL-based pattern, which is typically like-to-like function you would use now. Basically, it used to just be an equals then search output. Now you have a number of different ways that you can search this. Also, they've given you the ability to name queries as you're pulling things over. So in this picture, you're able to pull a chart over, and it actually gives you the ability to name that chart what you want to name it, name the query, or actually fill it from data from a different query. So those of you who work in Workspace know that this can become an issue if you do not name your objects. In Workspace, you pull your objects, which are created in Report Studio. If you haven't named them, you may get a combination chart 1, combination chart 2, and you have to decipher what each of those are. So this step here gives you the option to fill these in without having to remember to fill them in, and allows you to save some time and not have to go back and forth and rename different things. I think it's a pretty neat feature, certainly one that saves you a little bit of time and a little bit of confusion. The next couple of slides are going to deal with the dimensional data updates. So in this one, you're able to search with an ends with. This is typically used when you have a listing and you go into the members and you expand that. You'll see you may have 1,000 members there, and you're really just looking for a couple. It did have the starts with or contains options before. They do actually now have an ends with option. So there's a little bit of an enhancement there. This one I think is really neat. Those of you who use dimensionalized data across tabs, you have to go figure out how to put a line in for a percent of the total or a percent of the row or column or whatever you may be trying to do. It could get a little tricky depending on how you were doing it. This actually gives you the option to choose how you want to show the data. Do you want the raw numbers, the values, or the quantity? Or do you actually want to show percentages of those totals? By doing that, you go to data, you can click on show value as and determine how you want to show that. I think it's pretty neat, time saver that they've added. Shared sets amongst reports. This one's really cool. So for those of you who use Analysis Studio, you're aware that you can create sets, you can save them, you can copy them over to use in another Analysis Studio report. Well, maybe you didn't know that, and now you do. Of course, you now have two sets when you do that, which can be confusing. Well, now you can actually share them in the package, which can be used in any report using that package. So you just want to make sure that you save them in the public folders so that everybody can use it and see it in that package. But I think it's a really neat time saver to go into a member listing and create a top 5 and save that as a shared set report that now anybody can use based on that package. So while we're on Report Studio, we're going to talk about active reports. So there are a couple of minor changes to Active Reports, and then there's one major enhancement. So we're going to start with a couple of less quote-unquote sexy improvements here. It gives you the ability to compress the Active Report output and to make it scalable. So compressing it obviously just shrinks that size and makes the data quicker to load. So obviously I think that one would always be checked. It starts off by default checked. Certainly you can uncheck it, but I'm not sure, most situations why you would. The scalable option actually allows you to be able to pinch to zoom like you would on your iPhone or your iPad, how you zoom in and out by pinching. By clicking that setting, which again this one is set by default to on, it allows you to do that through your Active Reports on your mobile devices. So now the really exciting enhancement, which is RAVE, so the Rapidly Adaptive Visualization Engine. Give you a little background on what these visualizations are, and then I'm going to actually show you in a quick demo where to get them, how to load them in your Active Reports. Right now there are about 30 of them, as I said, on analyticszone.com. And for those of you who don't use it, Analytics Zone is a great area. It's a wealth of knowledge with software and forums and users just like yourself that deals with all analytics. So I put up the website there. In order to get these visualizations, you'll have to become a member of Analytics Zone. It's free to join, and it only takes a couple minutes. You must, for you ID users, you must install Microsoft Silverlight, and that's typically something you get from their website or actually in your Windows updates. It should be there under options or optional software, and you can install it if you already have it. These visualizations they look so much better than a normal chart or graph. And as I said earlier, they actually are embedded in the MHT file, and it actually makes the MHT file smaller, which makes it quicker to access and quicker to use. So, you'll see when I show the graphics are really cool to look at, and I can see the Active Report Writer really only using visualizations to build Active Reports in the future. And, two reasons why I think that off the bat are they look better, which makes you look better. And number two, they actually, as I said, take up less space than a normal chart. So there's just some great features that go along with this. So I'm going to jump over to out of the presentation for a minute and show you just a demo on how to get these. I'm going to take this real slow. I've been told that there could be some lag issues from switching back and forth. So I'm going to take it slowly. Hopefully my words and my actions will be in sync, but if they're not, I'll take it slow enough so that they do sync up a little bit. So here's the Analytics Zone. Okay, here you have many different things you can go search and find and download, and there's different communities. It's just a really great site that's hosted by IBM. So when you log in, and you get your username and password, log in, and go to the download section. And here you'll click on Find Download New Visualizations in the Cognos Active Reports. When this comes up, you'll see that there are about 30, as I said, that you can go ahead and download to your laptop or to wherever. You might do them on the server, in your BI server, wherever it might be. So I'm going to go ahead and download the tree map color by category just by clicking on it and then clicking Download Visualization. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and save it. And I save everything to my downloads folder, but you can certainly save it wherever. You'll see that it's saved here. I'm now going to go into Cognos in the 10.2.1. Okay, you'll see here's the opening splash screen. You can see that it does look different, but essentially works the same. I'm going to go into the Cognos Admin Console. And here's where I talked about library. I'm going to click on library. This is where you actually import these visualizations. There's an import button here that I will click. I'm going to go ahead and browse out to my downloads area. I'm going to click on the tree map color category that I downloaded. And and hit open, you'll see that it now shows up in the visualization pane. There's an X here that you can click to close or get rid of that piece if you don't want it. Otherwise, if you're satisfied, you click import. You'll see that it succeeded. If it doesn't succeed, it will give you an error. I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to launch Report Studio. I'm just going to pick this query, this package here. I'm going to go ahead and create a new one. I'm going to click on the active report template. I'm going to wait a second just to make sure that my screen is caught up. I'm going to go over to the toolbox, and in the toolbox you'll see that there is now a visualization option. When I go ahead and drag that over, you'll see now that here are all the different visualizations that I've actually loaded through demos and playing with this on my own. Here's actually the tree map that we just loaded. I click on that and click OK. I now have this visualization brought into an active report. And then you would just go through and set it up just like you would any other active report where you bring in the values and the categories. You can link them to other pieces of data. And it's as simple as that to use the visualizations. In the future, I'm told that you will actually be able to build your own visualizations. Right now, there's a number of partners, I guess I would say beta testing this or using this to be able to create your own visualizations. As I said, for now, there's about 30, and there's plenty out there. It'd be hard pressed to find one that you wouldn't need at this point in time. But eventually you will be able to, through some sort of software that they're going to give you, be able to create your own visualizations. This is also, if I bring a chart in, this is the insert chart box that I talked about earlier, where you're able to name that chart, give it a query name, so on and so forth. So those are just a couple of new features. Where you bring in a visualization. Those are really cool, and I certainly suggest, just almost for this reason alone, upgrading to 10.3.1. So we're going to talk now about Cognos Mobile. So in the mobile map, there are a number of samples that utilize the rated engine visualization. There's also still some old, quote-unquote, style reports out there as well. Go take a look. If you have an iPad and haven't downloaded it, please do. It's free. It's really neat. Now you can zoom on the reports as we talked about. There's actually audit logging that has been set up in this version, so you now can log, audit your audit trail for your mobile reports. There's new touch-friendly response. As I said, the reports are faster. One of the cool features for you admins is the ability to set up the configuration for mobile and actually email that URL to those individuals with mobile devices. When they click on that, it actually will configure what they need configured to be tied into your BI server. So pretty neat feature. I have one more sample demo I'm going to show you, which is, this is an actual active report that I pulled off of the iPad, which utilizes these new visualizations. So here you'll see that just the graphics alone are really neat. You can click on your different areas, and as you click through things, you'll see that visualizations move. Okay, they grow, they shrink. There's different areas, so as I click on different things, things are updating. Again, here you've got your Gantt charts. Here's the tree map that I actually downloaded. When you click on different things, it takes you to something different. So it's a really interactive object that they've given you. And the coolest thing is that here's this .mht file here. It's offline. It's not set up on any BI server anywhere. It's not querying any data. This is all wrapped up in that CSV file, which is huge and powerful, especially for those managers and executives that are on the road a lot. You know, how great would it be to give them this kind of file for them to be able to review as they're sitting on the plane or wherever they might be. Workspace Advanced has received basically the same improvements as Report Studio. Query Studio and Analysis Studio, there are no updates. And I put a question on here is, will Query and Analysis Studio be in future versions? In my opinion, I believe they're going to go away at some point in time because Workspace Advanced is such really a combination of the two with a lot of Report Studio features. My guess is, and again, I don't know this for sure, but Query and Analysis Studio will probably go away at some point in time or will be sunsetted eventually. So Workspace has a few changes in this release as well. The most notable change is the ability to map like items in the slider and value sliders. So for instance, before, and in the older version, in 10.2, if you had two objects in a report that had one had years and maybe one had end date, which was really using year, you weren't able to link those up with one slider to be able to control your dashboard or your workspace. Now you're able to actually link those because there's an option that allows you to link like items. And this allows you to have one slider, and when you move that slider from 2011 to 12, it will actually update your dashboard and not have to have two sliders or make sure you have the exact same data piece you're using in there. There's also the ability to automatically refresh the filter values in sliders and filters. So in this area, before, if you had added a sales rep to your data source, you weren't able to update that in your list of choices to filter down your dashboard or your workspace. Now with a click of a button, you can actually refresh that filter, and it'll actually bring in that new person or that new state or whatever that new piece of data might be. Formatting and nesting is retained as you drill through from the workspace. So before it was kind of quirky and didn't always work that way. And also, Cognos will now suggest the best way to view data that you're bringing into a workspace. So it may suggest a different chart or a different line, and you can actually click through and see why Cognos is suggesting that you do that. But really, the most important improvement here, I believe, is the ability to filter on those like items. Dynamic Cubes has some enhancements as well. You can now secure dimensions and attributes. Previously, you could only secure on a dimension. You can also use a database security table to define security instead of using custom views. There is now support for relative time aggregation, such as first, last, current period, which brings us more in line with PowerPlay and Transformer. So for those of you who use Transformer, Dynamic Cubes is similar, but it's really about big data with Dynamic Cubes. And it's kind of I like to call it maybe a Transformer on steroids, but similar concept as a data modeler. Really neat product, especially for you big data people. The auto design enhancements has been improved greatly with the ability to detect levels. And for those of you who don't know much about Dynamic Cubes, there's a great called the Dynamic Cubes cookbook out on IBM's website. Free to download. Go get it. Read through it. Really neat. Dynamic Cubes may be a solution for some of you. This slide here is just kind of showing where Dynamic Cubes fits into the Cognos model. Again, it's big data. Typically, I believe 25 million rows or more. You can use it with smaller data sets, but to get the enhancements and get the performance, on that 25 million rows or more, it really works well. Again, those of you who use Transformer, you know that if your data became too large or your cube size became too large, it became a little unstable, it gets some dirty results. Dynamic Cubes help solve that issue. Licensing is a chart on licensing, and I'm going to just give you this caveat. I'm not an expert on licensing, but I know many of you may have questions on what happens with licensing as I go from 8 to 10. If I advice, probably late night and liable to end up in non-compliance. So Heather Cole, who's president of Lodestar, the owner of Lodestar, just provided her email address here for, for a copy or for any questions that might be related to licensing. Her and her sales team are gurus in this area, and they can get those questions answered for you. Big data. So there is huge improvements in big data. And a lot of people, you hear more and more about big data. So as you can see in this chart, Cognos is actually now supporting almost all of the market leaders in big data. You have the Amazon Web Services, Cloudera, Hortonworks. Apache is not on this chart. That's it's a Forrester Wave chart on the big data applications. But Apache is not shown here. It's an open source, but they're also supported as well, along with the IBM big data levels. So as you can see, Cognos and IBM has really put some improvement into supporting these different big data platforms. As I mentioned earlier, Cognos 8 will not be supported past September 30th, which means that there will be no more enhancements, fixes of technical support or anything for 8. So obviously, now is a great time to start thinking about or contacting us or whomever about upgrading to 10. There are so many reasons to do it. And another cool feature is the Lifecycle Manager. So this is a tool that connects to the source and target environment. It validates and executes reports in both environments, and then it compares them. So it's a checks and balances tool to make sure that what we're migrating actually comes over properly. These results are compared in the dashboard so we can easily see what has happened and ensure a smooth transition. This will check reports from Report Studio, Query Studio, and Analysis Studio. Lodio is an IBM Premier business partner. They partnered with us for this webinar, and they have a suite of 8 products which are designed to streamline Cognos and ensure that BI implementations perform in their ideal state. Modio's software portfolio includes Modio CI, a solution that provides version control, release management, and automated testing for Cognos, and Modio PI, a free tool designed to ease cumbersome tasks in Cognos. So today, by the rest of this week, Modio is offering a 30% discount on the purchase of Modio PI Pro. So if you do that by this Friday, they're offering a 30% discount using this 30 Lodestar 30 code. All you do is put that in the coupon code section if you're going to order this. I'm going to leave this slide up for a moment for those of you who might be interested. So at least check out their website, see what they have to offer, and also, if you purchase, here's the information you need to do that. Also today, Lodestar is offering a free ROI consult via the web to review your current entitlements. So as you can see, we're going to go through and review those entitlements. We'll review your software maintenance, functionality that you own. We will help educate you on how to leverage that functionality. We'll give you some recommendations, go through an ROI with you. Willing to do that, one per organization. There's a number at the bottom that you can call to set that up. Kelly, who does this, typically is extremely good at what she does, and she's certainly going to give you the best information that you might need. So since I have asked you to contact us, I should probably tell you a little bit more about who Lodestar is. So we are educators of business analytics. We are also a premier reselling partner with IBM and provide competitive quotes on licensing and renewals. We can provide technical assistance to help get you upgraded to Cognos 10. We actually we have a number of experienced consultants in BI and also GM1. We provide virtual training, on-site training, to customize that training to fit whatever needs you might have. We also host a number of user groups and webinars like this one. And lastly, certainly very important. We're a woman-owned business, so I know that does come into play for a lot of folks. Also, just a couple more things. Coming soon from us, we have a psychology of requirements gathering for change agent. So this is an awesome class. For those of you who are looking to understand what people are looking for in the psychology of requirements gathering and change, setting up change, it's a great class to attend. We're offering a full-day class in Chicago and Tampa in September. And through some of these that we've already given, our surveys have indicated that this increases your ability to effectively gather requirements by 22%. So really a great class. So be on the lookout for that. Support renewals, if you would like to have a copy of what you need to know to save money on support renewals, please email Kelly. There's her email address there, and she will get that over to you. Lodestar is also presenting at the Chicagoland User Group on September 3rd, so you can visit our LinkedIn group for more information on that. And then lastly, something pretty new and exciting, that we're proud to announce the Compass Rose Club. So what this is a select group of individuals that are advocates for better business analytics. So this group is designed to create a think tank of passionate people to share ideas and solutions. So admission to the club is limited. However, we're taking applications. So keep an eye out over the next week or so for an email that kind of an invite to submit an application to be a part of this group. Lastly, here's some contact information for Heather, as I said, who is the president of our company. She's also in charge of our sales folks, Ian and Corey. Great at what they do. If you have any questions whatsoever, please do not hesitate to contact any of them. Also, Bethany, who is in charge of all of our services. You'll see on the left there is our website address. Please go visit it. It's brand new. It's a really big project that we worked on to provide just a better user experience on our website, a lot more information. We also have blogs. We write lots and lots of blogs on lots of different things. Kind of neat for me, even when I'm searching something through Google, to see one of our blogs is up in top 5 searches in Google, which is pretty neat. But tons of information out there, and if you're having a question and you're stuck on something, good chance that we've already written a blog on it. So, as I said, I'd like to thank all of you for joining me today. We're going to go ahead and open it up to take some questions. I'm going to do my best again to answer as many of them as I can. If I don't know the answer to that, I will provide it in the recorded version. But I'm not afraid to say I don't know. I don't want to give you the wrong information. So I'm going to go ahead and check and see what kind of questions we have and go from there. Okay. I have a question asking about shared sets in Report Studio, and can a shared set created with one package be used in a report created using a second package? I believe the answer to that is no. It's going to just work with that package that it was created from. Because of it being its own package, it won't know how to read through the second package. Can we provide the slides to the attendees? We will provide the recording via our website. I do not believe we'll provide the slides, but if that changes, we certainly will say that. A question on how big is the effort to upgrade from 8.4 to 10.2 and how costly, what is the typical cost to complete it, so on and so forth. I don't get too involved in the cost and what that would be. I would suggest contacting Heather Cole and reaching out to her, and I've got your question here, and I'm sure she'll see it as well, and they reach right out to you. But I will, we'll make sure that does get answered for you. I don't want to speak to it. From a data perspective and a report perspective, it's typically not too bad to do. But from a cost perspective, I don't have a clue. Do visualizations only work in Active Report? No, they will work in any report studio report, but the biggest bang for the buck there is going to be in your active reports. Does an active report have to be offline, or can it be embedded into a dashboard? You could embed it into a dashboard. There's no issue with that. When you create an active report, you have two options. You can actually run it as an HTML file or whatnot, or you can actually download it to the MHT file. Well, the visualizations that require Silverlight, so for already work on platforms where Silverlight is not an option, I assume you're talking about some of the other browsers. I don't believe there's any issues with, I'm drawing a blank on it, Firefox. I believe that one's fine. I'm not sure about Google Chrome, but I will answer that in the recorded session. I know there's a listing of things that browsers that are supported. So I believe they'll work in both of those, but I know for sure Firefox. So with active reports, the compress MHT file option, is there any performance issues between compressed or uncompressed MHT files? Not that I'm aware of. Again, Cognos decided to have that box checked, which is compressing all of them. So my assumption would be, haven't played with them as much as maybe some have at this point in time, just because it's so new. But my guess is that there are no issues whatsoever. Matter of fact, it probably works better with it compressed. We can give it another minute or two to see what other questions might pop up. A question on multi-tenancy. So what multi-tenancy is it provides the capability to support multiple customers or organizations, which you would refer to them as tenants, by using a single deployment. I'm going to be honest, it's not something I've had to work with typically at all, but it would be used for those who have maybe multiple locations, multiple companies that roll into one using one BI server. You're able to create the different applications, or call them multi-tenants. So that is, from what I understand, the ability to do that has been greatly improved in 10.2.1. Kathy, our organizer, has asked if we have time, can you please show how to download the package with performance ranking, trend analysis? I'm assuming this refers to this here. This is actually found if you go out to IBM's website. You can actually do a search on this one. I think it's control metrics, but it actually will take you to an FTP site where you can actually create a link to this and use this as an example or show other people in your organization. Another question, can the sets be viewed in TM1 if created in a package based on TM1 cubes. The sets would have to be created in, I believe, TM1 for that to work coming over the other way. A question on DQM. So DQM is dynamic query mode. It's something that you can check or uncheck in Framework Manager. And basically it's the 64-bit engine for typically large data. And it helps speed that up by the caching, the different things that it does. So it's an option in Framework Manager. I have a question on big data solution provided in detail. I'm not sure I understand the question, but I will do my best. If you're still out there and you can maybe put a little more, type a little more on it, I certainly will answer it. The solution is for big data, so they have a number of different solutions. One of them is dynamic cubes. One of them is dynamic query mode through Framework Manager. But what IBM is saying and what this version has allowed is actually to read those data sources, Fortin and Cloudera and so on and so forth. So this is what this is allowed for you to update. Any update in Metric and Event Studio? No updates at all. Any update in Cognos configuration? Not that I'm aware of. I did not see any updates there. No. Not seeing any more questions. Just a few more minutes on questions. As I mentioned previously, we will put a recording of this webinar out on our website. Please go visit it. We will answer all of the questions that haven't been answered, if any were missed or any come through that we don't have time to answer. A question on how do you manage the memory usage in dynamic cube generation process? From a technical standpoint, I'm not sure. I will find out though and put that on recording. My guess is it's through certain governors and certain settings that you would choose, but that would be my guess. But I will find that answer. Any update in performance tuning? Not that I'm aware of. But again, I'm not positive on that one either. I will certainly look into that. Is moving from 10.1.1 to 10.2 or now 10.2.1 a new install or upgrade? It is a new install. From 10.1.1 to 10.2 is a new install, and actually from 10.2.1 or from 10.2 to .1 is a new install as well. Question on how long does it take the complex to update from 10.1 to 10.2? I think I answered that before, but just in case I didn't, I don't believe it's not real complex to update. Basically, you uninstall 10.1, you install 10.2, make sure your settings are all good, reconnected, clear your cache, and you're good to go. So it's not too bad from that standpoint. You don't need to do anything with reports or your content store or anything like that. So it's not too crazy. I did it here. I have 10.2 and I have 10.2.1 on a couple different machines. And, it only took me with just my one little person environment. It only took an hour or two. Obviously, a bigger environment may take a little more. The extension of transformer in 10.2.1, I believe it's PYX, but I'll have to double check. To be honest, we don't use transformer too much anymore. Not too many people using it, even though, in my opinion, it's one of the greatest products in the world. But I will check on that and let you know. I think, Kathy, we're just going to give it maybe another minute or two. Again, I want to thank all of you for your time and for being a part of this. This was certainly a lot of people to be in a webinar, and I really sincerely appreciate all of you joining. Again, if Lodestar or Modio can help you at all, please reach out to us and let us know. More than happy to help in any way that we can. And if we certainly don't have the answers, we will find people who do for you. Do we have an update on Cognos Access Manager? Not that I'm aware of, no. Would I recommend moving from Transformer to Dynamic Cubes? Tough question to answer. If you're running into issues with Transformer and your data sources are becoming large or your cubes are becoming large, certainly a good option to look into. If you're not having any issues with Transformer and it's working for what you're doing, I don't see any reason to go ahead and upgrade. But if you did, I would keep your Transformer cubes. I would build them in comparison to dynamic cubes, and I would check out the response time and the speed and just see, because as I said, if you don't have 25 million rows or more, dynamic cubes isn't going to give you the performance improvement that you would that you'd probably be looking for. But I would probably go ahead and take your data source, build a dynamic cube off of it, publish that package, and check them both out. See if you think that you're getting any gains from dynamic cubes. But if Transformer is working fine, then I would leave it as it is for now. Okay, I think that's going to be it. Thank you again very much. Sincerely appreciate your time and for being a part of this. As I said, if you have any questions or concerns or anything like that, please contact us. I'm going to go ahead and put up that contact page again, just for another minute or so. And I know some of you who have joined today I've worked with previously, and I hope to work with you again and work with some new folks in the future.